I am attempting to author change around the role of women in Muslim societies, both majority societies and minority societies. And it is just the most beautiful place to be writing and thinking and, you know, grappling with the concepts that I'm struggling with in this manuscript that I'm working on.
Child Protection Services in Philadelphia were the organization that investigated my parents for child abuse. And I was street homeless on and off for a fair amount of my teenage and early 20s. Part of why I didn't end up in a group home later on was because I decided that I wanted to become emancipated once I found out that that was an option, which is essentially the reason that I wanted to write about it. My idea behind writing the book is that I want it to be a guide for youth who are still in the system to sort of think about their options, but also that it would be a work that we could engage with critically when we're talking about the foster care system and CPS, Child Protection Services, and how to fix them.
I'm working on a book that is about the drug trade of the 1980s and the lasting impact on my family. So since I've been here, I have written a lot, and feeling safe intellectually and emotionally in all those ways has helped me to take more risks with my writing, and it has my defenses are down, I guess I would say. My defenses are down, and I felt an opening here. It won't be easy to leave.
I used to work with prisoners at Rikers Island. I did poetry workshops with them, and just looking at what does that mean, rehabilitation, versus just kind of sticking people away in warehouses and forgetting that they're human. Because I saw so much humanity, so much goodness.
My grandmother, who was a scientist, wrote these papers as like an immigrant, as a Chinese woman. And I'm her granddaughter who has been born in the States, but I can't understand any of them. And all these problems come from not understanding science. Like, we have people who don't believe in global warming running the government. I don't think that would necessarily be possible if science and like scientific language were more accessible. I hope that some of the writing I do can move like the inaccessible towards becoming accessible.
I think that fiction is one of the most powerful things in this world. Just the idea of rewriting a story and sending it out into the universe and having that story make a connection with somebody from a completely different culture, in a completely different part of the world. There's something very, very humbling and very life-affirming about that. So storytelling is very important to me. It can teach compassion, it can teach empathy, and it can just remind all of us that at the end of the day, we may be different, but we are all human.
The Great Leap Forward during Maoist China, that's a history that is really not spoken about, and in particular in China, it's you know, books about this topic are banned, you know, so the stakes are high, and I think that in the US, I almost feel like I have the kind of voice and the power to kind of lift those histories up. One of the greatest kind of gifts for me would be to have a reader kind of say like, hey, you know, this did happen to me in my own life in a different way too, that there's some sort of connection there.
One of the, I think, fabulous, amazing things about being at Hedgebrook is that we gather for dinner. And it's there where we learn about what each of us is writing about. And of course, now I've heard a lot from Jane about what her mother and her family went through and how many people died from starvation, even though there was plenty of food. I mean, that was shocking to hear. So this certainly makes me now think I've got to reevaluate that whole period that me and my colleagues who were into Black Power, Black Panthers, you know, and the other Black nationalist formations, all of whom idolized Mao Zedong. And I must say, being here has been one of the most wonderful experiences of my life.